In 1975, Venezuelan musician-composer Vytas Brenner released his third album, Jayeche, on Disco Motto, and from it, the track Cariaco. Is that the Arctic? Now this sounds more like Venezuelan to me. I mean, it's near the equator. I don't think they Okay, I love that keyboard sound, whatever it is. Okay, got plenty of information here. Vytas Brenner plays a heaping load of keyboards on this. He plays Fender Rhodes, piano. Okay, now synthesizer. This should tell us something. Electrocomp, Micro Moog, ARP String Ensemble, Oberheim DS2 digital sequencer. And he also plays 12-string acoustic guitar. Okay, I'm going to assume that sound has got to be maybe... Okay, it's probably the ARP string ensemble. The way it's just being played at like a high pitch that I haven't really heard elsewhere. Okay, that sounds kind of like a string-laden sound right there. That's perhaps the ARP string ensemble, but mixed with some Fender tinkly, glowing sounds, yeah. Okay, some very good drumming there by Ivan El Terrible Velasques. I am amazed by the amount of electronic instruments on this. Guitarist Pablo Zenith Manavello is playing a guitar synthesizer. Not something I would expect to see in many credits this early, especially not from this part of the world. That wheezing sound. 5/4. funny the way it just like puts all these like hits over everything, like every single note, every. I just love it. It's just so hyperactive and uncontainable. And now he's really going to roll. Okay, this great drummer, let's see, also played in the band. He played in Vytas Brenner's backing band, Ofrenda. Yeah, sometimes co-credited on Brenner's releases. And before that, played in an act called La Fe Perdida, put out 4 singles on Philips in 1971. And also appeared on some Venezuelan pop records, it looks like. Yeah, Gladys, Delia, Gina E. Agni, Aguilar, Jade. Yeah, they all look to be pop releases. Okay, 2 things I just gotta say about the band overall. Vytas has some of the most unique synth sounds I've heard outside of Europe from this time period. And this drummer is gonna have to kind of go on a short list of drumming greats from the time period. I'm really getting that feeling. I love those kind of changes where they throw in they throw in a few bars where 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Oh god, these rapid fire run loose rolls and everything around it just kind of discombobulates, and you're just hearing all these bobbles of sound. Okay, that was part 2. Cariaco and its follow through. Sancocho de Medula. I should look up had those translated. Yeah. Okay.
Sancocho de Medula.
Doesn't seem to mean anything in English. Yeah, I know that the title of the album doesn't really seem to mean anything. Jayeche or Jayeche or something. Because a Google search on that title only yields matches to this album. Yeah, let's hear a little bit more from this album, Por Electron. Now, I don't remember anything being quite like this. All that fizzy sound, it sounded like something was kind of like muffled or mangled in the mix somehow, or like wiped out. Oh god, appreciate those trebly whizzing kind of envelope sounds that are just like spiraling in and out. One of the things I love about jazz rock is that it was universal, and that it instantly connected with musicians around the world. Like hearing "Return to Forever" and it upping the bar on musicianship, and just all these like young bands wanting to explore counterpoint, and just the harmonic, full potential of what instruments can do when they play against one another. Few of the bands, well, in the global South anyway, and few bands really outside of Europe experimented with the spacier electronic elements as well and infused that in jazz rock. And so it's rare to be hearing jazz rock and elements of like Latin music, like highly like Latinized jazz rock, mixed with these spacey and like avant-garde electronic sounds from the time period. Even with the influence of Chick Corea, who could get experimental with his keyboard arsenal. Few bands were quite as experimental in that area, particularly outside of Europe, as him. And then this Vytas is taking it even farther, and no, I don't really think it has much to do with Germany. Because his sound is so different and unique. That drummer just finds ways to like put twice as many hits into each bar, and then he'll like hold back like one in some odd moment or millisecond. Like this album makes use of some sounds that weren't really explored elsewhere on certain keyboards, as well as perhaps that guitar synth, and that the manufacturers. I believe that there are some manufacturers out there that really appreciate the existence of this album as one of the only documents of what certain makes and models could do at the time. Hear that we had that like kind of like 60s organ sound, and that Fender being kind of flanked with those like bobbles and spirals of like odd synth noises and such. Oh yeah, you. I hope you heard that synth guitar solo. Oh god, fuzzy. It's like the studio was visited by ghostly apparitions. Very original for its style. Yeah, we got those really icy sounds kind of beaming in and out. We got those kind of like bell, those percussive sounds. Eh. Echoing, kind of watery sounds. Spaceship control board sounds. Yeah, going into kind of experimental electronic territory there, and sounding really like nothing else I can think of. And I wonder how much of the sounds that we heard are as much due to just the ingenuity of the players involved and their ability to manipulate the pedals and what they had on hand, as much as it is about the equipment itself. Yeah, because I haven't. This really stands apart from what was going on. I mean, it was completely the music of its time. It was like maximalism. It combined several of the utmost uh, musical styles at the forefront of innovation at the time. You know, like we had. I mean, it crossed everything from like jazz rock to Latin to library, experimental electronic, and yet sounded nothing like what was coming out of Europe. Um, like Mort Garson crossed my mind for a minute there, Atraxia, but that's just because both were very kind of experimental, odd, spooky, and came out in 1975. But I don't think it really sounded anything like what he was doing. Or yeah, this. Let's just say that there was a lot of great music coming out of South America. Well, there was from the productive countries anyway. You could say that there was like about a half dozen good releases coming out from like say 1972 onward. But few pushed the envelope quite like this. Few were as audacious and experimental with sound as this. like a lot of bands like experiment with rhythm and counterpoint, but few just tweak to their instrumental arsenals out quite like Vytas Brenner. Yeah. As a matter of fact, before I sat down to do this segment, I had forgotten just how experimental he could be. Um, yeah, because I've always known him as quite the composer, quite the improviser. Yeah, but yeah, just completely. The closer you listen, the more layers you uncover, and that's what's so great about doing these segments here. And a great catalog he would leave behind. He released at least 10 albums between 1973 and 1998, and including a Mammoth live album in '77. Yeah, Sympho Space jazz rock albums. Yeah, and passed away in 2004. A great body of work and a great tone. He was. For more rubies and sapphires from the catalog of Vytas Brenner, see the directory of albums by South American artists linked in the description below. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the, well, you could say 4 tracks we heard. Basically two-part tracks, yeah. The interplay, the drumming, the just rapid-fire rolls, the just tweaked out, odd, unique sound, tonal colors, sprayed throughout it, yeah. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear-traveled trimaximalist, signing off.